when we had our events, we would do our events. And I remember, I wasn't sure if you guys were the same horror club that would have that last week where you would show horror films, because I did know of it. However, if I'm not mistaken, I remember there was this guy who was in charge of that. He would be the one that was showing the films, and I don't know exactly when that was, but at some point when we were doing our events, I remember like he would even go to our events at times. And actually, I believe, speaking of Terminator, he had like one time he went to, when we showed Terminator. I think it was like on one of our award shows. Yeah, it was Terminator 2, I believe. I believe it was 2, and we were gonna have one of our award shows, and he was there, and he dressed up like Terminator. Like he had the jacket. He even brought like a bike that kind of looked like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And that was Daniel. I think it was Menchaca.
Yeah, Daniel Menchaca.
Okay.
And
he's
still there. He's the founder. I'm the co-founder of the RGV Horror Club. And man, and I know what you're talking about. He has that really cool look when he does the Terminator, and that bike. He had been working on it for a while, so little by little he was adding some stuff to that bike. I don't know what happened to that bike. I'm pretty sure he still has it somewhere. But I mean, we miss.
So then you guys are the same. You guys are the same. This is the same club then. Okay, I wasn't sure.
This is the same club.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk the Talk. We have a very special guest today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Brittney Staples. I'm with the RGV Horror Club. Some of you may also know me by my host name, Jamie Strode, with Evil by Default podcast. And I mean, we love horror. We like to talk about it. We like to share anything horror related. It could be from horror movies to video games, maybe some scary stories you have, some creepy hauntings. But that's awesome. That's what we're here for.
That is cool. I didn't know. I mean, I was going to ask you about the podcast, and I'm going to ask you more about it a little bit later. But it's great to know that it's interesting what you talk about. You mentioned video games. Have you ever met my brother, by the way, Rini Olmeda?
No, I have not, but I know he was, the last time I had talked to him, he was in the process of making kind of like this little 8-bit game, a little horror game. And he was like putting in characters, and he was like, hey, I made a character of you. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
You probably weren't like, I don't know if you're expecting that at all, but
no,
he does. Yeah, he does stuff like that. Like, and I think it's really cool, because it's like, like people like you, or like really anybody should have, be like, wow, that's awesome. That's great. And which I know you mentioned, but he's a big into games. And it's funny you mentioned that 8-bit game, because of course I'm his brother. So he texts me about it all the time. He sends me multiple pictures and just, all the stuff he's doing, the progress and just everything. And he's trying to get that game done, which is supposed to be like, kind of like a Nintendo form, like the classics, like back in the day, like Friday the 13th, the Jason game that was for Nintendo a long time ago. And of course, you got Duck Hunt, you got all the Mario games, the classic ones. So it's going to be in that kind of, format way, which I think is great. To me, I know that's, I was born in the 80s. So like, to me, those are like the best games.
Yeah.
I want to get to the horror club, and I want to get to the podcast, but is there anything else you want to mention? As far as specializing in, or anything you like to do?
Well, I'm actually in the process, and I mean, I have some. Okay, so I've been making some t-shirts, right? That's what I've been getting into, some screen printing t-shirts. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
T-shirts. Oh, okay. I wore that specifically for this interview, by the way.
That's awesome.
Hey, I love, two of my favorite horror icons right there.
Right. Well, that's something that I'm picking up, and I have some shirts already ready. It's just getting the courage to finally just post it and put it out there. Hey guys, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm selling. And I guess it's yeah, I should just do it. I just get really nervous. Like, oh man, like I critique myself. Like I'm always like real hard on myself. Like
I get you. I'm like that too.
Yeah.
I'm like that too. So I totally get you. No, I want you to keep going. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I know
No,
what
no,
you're
no, it's
talking about.
okay. No, that's good to hear. But so yeah, it's just that next step, like take pictures of the shirts, maybe get a model, somebody of all different sizes. This is how it looks on a 3X, 4X, you're small, and just kind of put them out there and yeah, just see where it goes from there, right? That's my next step, right? That's
Right,
my
right.
hobby. That's something that I'm into.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, cool. I'm glad I asked. And it's funny you say shirts because I was going to mention this later on, but we mentioned to you because I saw one of the events you were going to do, and it reminded me of when we used to do our events at Cine El Rey, and this
Yeah.
was of course with Jar Films, and we used to have our monthly. It was a monthly event. We had a special, like, I mean, they gave us a spot. Bert Guetta, of course, gave us a spot. I think it was I always had to explain this and people would be a little confused, but it was always the third Tuesday of each month. I don't know. I might have said it different. I'm sure I said it different a few times, but we had the slot, where we could show double features. And
Yeah.
one time we did Slashers, which is a Fangoria production or the presentation, and Monster Man. I don't know if you've ever seen either one of those films, but if you haven't, these are two films, by the way, that are harder to find, and you can't just find them on Netflix, or you can purchase them on Amazon, I'm sure. Amazon
Right.
Prime too, of course, because Amazon Prime is the place to go when you can't find, a film. But these two films, if you haven't seen them, by the way, Brittney, I got to tell you, I have them. I own them.
Okay.
So you got to see them because I've seen some of the stuff you put on. I think we have like some similar, taste in horror. But
Yeah.
so I just wanted to mention, basically, we used to have those events at Cine El Rey once a month, and they were just awesome. We loved them. We loved them, and it was a lot of fun. We met a lot of people, and of course, it was kind of like what we wanted to do was show films, and especially films that didn't make it to theater, or at least not worldwide distribution.
Right.
We wanted to kind of give them that, like get that experience for people who wanted to go see those films. And of course, for the people who hadn't seen those films, just to kind of experience and be like, we chose the film. So we were choosing films that we knew that they would like. So we just wanted them to experience it in movie theater,
Yes.
form, basically. And for me, I just, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to go to the theater, watch films, especially if it's something you really, really wanted to see.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention about the shirts, because we would do shirts, by the way. So like,
That's freaking awesome.
we would do shirts, and that's what I'm saying. You got to do it. You got to do it, because it's actually something, even though, yeah, it took a little process. Setting everything up took some time, of course. But it was cool making the shirts. I mean, I got to talk to the guy we were working with, Pro Screen Printing and in San Juan. And I would tell him like, hey, can you do this? And I need both of them in there. And he would come up with a design. And as a matter of fact, I have a few extra shirts. If you're interested, I'd like to give you some, because I know you love horror. And
Yes, that would be awesome.
I don't know if you know Rope and the Abominable Dr. Fibes.
No, I do not.
Wow, you got these are two other films you have to watch, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, you got Vincent Price in one,
Okay. Yeah.
and then the other one is Alfred Hitchcock. So
Okay, there you go.
you have to
And
see it.
I have to see it. Yeah.
There's four. I'll give you 4 recommendations right now. But Brittney, yeah. So I just wanted to mention that, because that was a lot of fun, and it's cool that you're doing this, and you're doing it post-pandemic, because we were doing it before, and then everything got hit. A lot of my plans, a lot of things I wanted to do just got scraped off. And you're still doing this. So man, props to you. Props to you. And I think it's awesome that you're doing that. Can you tell us about it?
Well, that's crazy too, because just like you, we were also hosting movies at the Cine El Rey, and you said you were the third Tuesday. We were the last Tuesday of the month, so we will also do the double features. And it is just like how you said. That's exactly how we felt about it too. Movies that we can never see on the big screen, we now have that opportunity to do so. And I know one time, I think I had hosted, what was it? It was Evil Dead 2 and Idle Hands. And there was a big crowd in there. And one of the things that I enjoyed seeing in the very, very front, I saw a much older gentleman, and he had two young boys. I'm like, okay, well, this is a father. He's bringing his kids to the theater. I'm pretty sure maybe back in the day he saw this in theaters and he wanted to share this with his kids so they can watch it on the big screen. And to me, that's nostalgic. You're also trying to pass on something to your family, and we're all creating memories, and I like things like that. And this is why we do what we do. Let me
That's
see.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you know,
And you're
I
right
think that's
about
what
that.
we're
I
all
don't, I
here.
don't want to interrupt you because I want you to keep going because that's great. And that's very true. I can tell you from my own experience, like that's one of my favorite things. And I go back to when I was younger. Like I remember, and I posted about this on my Olmeda Productions Facebook page because I was going through all my favorite films. But there's one experience. I've never had this experience in, going to the movie theater to watch. I was so excited to watch this film. I've never been more excited. And unfortunately, it's not a horror film, but
No, and that's okay.
but I have my own story about how I got into that, like why I liked horror films. But it was for Terminator 2.
Oh, that's
And I mean, I
awesome.
was a young boy. And I remember, I guess I must have seen the first one. I mean, I can't remember. I'm sure I did. And I did actually, because I remember when I saw the second one, I was like, what? He's a good guy now? It just kind of threw me off. But I remember going to the theater and I was so excited to watch that movie. I became an Arnold fan and a Terminator fan in general, just from the first film. And I was excited to see the second one. And I remember we went to the theater, and this is when we lived in, like, I want to say Houston, if I remember correctly, right? But I remember being in line, and we got there, we were excited. You saw the stand, they had like a poster of Terminator 2 where he's on the bike. I mean, it's one of the coolest DVD movie covers, posters I've ever seen. And it's just him with his leather jacket on the bike with a shotgun, and of course you can see his shades, and you can see the little red, from the eye. And so it's just like, I was so excited, and they sold out. They sold out.
What? No.
They were sold out of tickets. It was like one of the most heartbreaking things that I've ever experienced, like especially at that age. And we ended up seeing Problem Child 2, which was like hilarious. And I actually ended up loving it and appreciating it, later on. But so I know what you mean. Like going to the movie theater is just like one of those things where when you're there, like kind of like nothing else matters. And you're just like, especially if it's like, something you've been really wanting to watch, or if it's something that you just kind of like, you just went to see because you're interested, and then you end up like watching it and you kind of get, pulled in, and you're like, wow, I love this film. I love it. Like for me, Wolf of Wall Street was like that because I didn't know what to expect. But I
have not seen that movie, and people keep telling me that I need to see it, but it's just one of those films.
And that's one of my top 15. I think it was 15. I started with top 10, and then I ended up adding more. So I don't know. But I made a post about that too, and that's one of my top movies of all time. It's really great. But so I love what you're doing. I mean, I love that you're doing the RGV Horror Club, and that's really interesting, because there's a lot of parents also that you'll get that feel that kids shouldn't watch horror movies.
Right.
So that's interesting. You pointed that out, and you saw that, but I think it just depends on how how responsible you are as far as communicating with your kids and just explaining to them that, this is just a movie and it's for entertainment.
Right.
You don't do this, you don't do that, of course. But man, speaking of Evil Dead, I love that movie.
Oh yeah, that's a big fan favorite. Love the films. You can never get tired of it.
I love part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
And everybody always tells me to watch Army of Darkness. I've never seen it.
It's so cool. It's
I need to check it out.
It gets super cheesy after a while, but in the best way, honestly. I mean, you get those how do I say, his little groovy lines and everything. Like they just come out even more in this film.
There's more.
It's so awesome.
Wow. Okay. That kind of makes me want to see it for sure. I've never heard of that. Like I've never, no one's ever told me about it like that. So so I'm even more invested to check it out.
Speaking of that too, I'm also drinking a coffee. It's by Bones Coffee Company, and it's called Army of Dark Chocolate.
Wow, that's
it's supposed
cool.
to be kind of, the artwork is like the movie film too, so that's pretty cool.
That is cool. That is really cool. So Yeah, man, we could talk forever. Like I said, I mentioned to you that my brother and I want to do a podcast or YouTube show where we just talk about movies in general and just keep talking about whatever we like. And I feel like we're doing that right now because,
I
to be
think so
honest,
too.
I want to keep talking about Evil Dead and one and part two, but I have questions. I have more
Okay.
questions for you. So I want to make sure I get to all of this. That's great.
But
That's great.
we're hoping, because I was actually going to be messaging my buddy Michael. He's also one of the admins for the RGV Horror Club, and we had started hosting the movie nights over there at 5x5. It's a real nice outdoor area, and I took a little break from the holidays and doing some medical stuff with my doggy. It gets expensive and going back and forth to San Antonio. But we're hoping to get that started back up not next month, maybe for March.
March. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember you had talked to me about it. We had did the Deep Rising and Tremors. And then I know you were saying you did a similar movie night there at the Cine Ray. What was it? Oh, Jaws and Tremors, right?
I did.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
I even have the poster. I have the poster. I remember. I actually have it even in my house. I have it
That's
in my
freaking
house.
awesome.
It's basically I put it on. I put it on like where I have all my movies. I have a big
Yeah.
DVD collection, and it's basically supposed to be a closet for our blankets and whatever else we want to put in there. But man, my
Yeah.
movies have taken up that closet. Like there's hardly any room for anything else.
Yes.
But I have that poster where it has Jaws, Tremors, and it's not safe in water and not safe on land. So you're not safe on in water or not safe on land.
Right.
That was our
Right.
theme. But I
Yeah.
love that you guys showed Tremors and Deep Rising because they're very similar and both are really good films.
Very.
And
Yes.
I find that a lot of people don't know Deep Rising as much as Tremors. And
Yes. I
sometimes
agree
even
with that
Tremors.
too.
Sometimes even Tremors. It's crazy. Like some
Yeah.
people don't even know Tremors. We just recently, actually, it's funny because I want to say about maybe 3 weeks ago, I've been wanting to show Tremors to my boys. I've been wanting to show them that movie just because it's not that I'm tired of seeing the same old stuff or like seeing because I love watching movies with them. But of course they want to watch a goofy movie. They want to watch Captain Underpants. They want to watch watch Mr. Peabody. And well, the one that they like to watch that where I'm more like I like it. I like those two. Don't get me wrong. But they love Jurassic Park. They love Jurassic World,
my heart.
which are awesome. They're great.
Yeah.
So, when they're watching that, I gotta admit, I'm more excited and and I'm more entertained and I'm watching. So I was thinking, I was like, Tremors is not that much different. If you're not scared of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, you should be fine with something under. I mean, it can be traumatizing though. It can be traumatizing because I watched that film when I was younger, and I remember I would always look at the floor, and I was like, "What if?"
Yeah, almost playing that game. I don't know if you ever played it, right? But I know me and my siblings, we played like we called it the floor is lava. So we're hopping around the sofas and stuff. You can't touch the floor. We kind of try to push each other. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still like even more popular now because of the show that came out on Netflix, The Floor is Lava. And so I do that with therapy, like, where I work, I do physical therapy. So a lot of the kids will love to do that. So I'll set up an obstacle course and we'll do The Floor is Lava. But it's funny because my brother and I, we love that Tremors film so much that we used to play Tremors. Like we would pretend there was Tremors on, under the ground, and we would like try to hop from here to there, and if we landed on the floor, well, Tremors, got us. So it's kind of like, it's funny because it reminds me of, I'm sure you've seen Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember
the
those?
Sandworm.
Exactly. You gotta like remember that, so it's funny. And but yeah, my son Dante ended up loving Tremors. He quotes everything.
That is
now.
Awesome.
And man, it's so funny. Of course and actually my other son too, he ended up liking it as well. So it's really cool. It's really cool. But I like that you're still doing these events. It's great that March, you guys are going to march on, and you guys are going to,
nice
continue. We'll continue your events because I think even though I know the pandemic is brutal right now, I know there's a lot of people being affected, included, myself included, as far as like not being able to do stuff that I used to do, like do those events because I do miss it. And I would have loved to continue. And who knows, maybe in the future I can still kind of do that. I'm hoping. But it's great that you guys, you guys were still doing the events, and you guys still, hopefully March will be a good time to get back to it. And hopefully the cases will be, a little bit down, because I know they went
There's
up.
a huge spike right now. Yeah.
Huge spike. Exactly. And that's awesome that you're being very responsible about it too. So props to you on that as well. Good job looking out for everybody's safety and your own, of course. And so
yeah, that's why 5x5. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it is a nice outdoor place. There's benches, they're all spread out. So I think that's the best way to be able to enjoy a movie all together.
It's outdoors too, right?
Yeah, it's outdoors.
That's
and
another
so
plus.
you got your brewery, you got a coffee shop, Jitters, and then you have a whole bunch of food trucks in the back. And it doesn't take away the sound from the movie or anything. So you got the whole setup and the speakers. Yeah, you got benches to grab your food. There's a Rospa stand there too. So you just sit down, enjoy some drinks, enjoy some pizza, whatever's going on there, some tacos, and just watch the film. So it's really nice. And you don't feel like you're indoors next to everybody. Like, still to this day, dude, I cannot go to a movie theater. I can't. I don't like the thought of just sitting in there knowing that I'm breathing the same air as a lot of other people, because not everybody wears masks, and I still wear my mask all the time. I always have a big ass bottle of Germix with me. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say bad words.
Go for it. No, go for it.
Okay.
And I'm more, I do tend to cuss quite often. Well, I can. I cuss as well, but you can talk however you want. This is uncensored.
Okay, awesome. Because I got a bit of a potty mouth sometimes.
Yeah, no, so do I. So that's a good way to put it. I think we all do. I think we all do. But for some reason, I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, the last movie that I saw in theaters was It Chapter 2. This was way before the pandemic. That was the last time that I went to the movie theaters. You really haven't
been to the theater in quite a while. And the same thing was with us. The same thing was with us. We have 3 boys. My wife and I, we just stayed away from the movie theater because it is enclosed. And then of course, you got the large amounts of people. You're right. People, obviously they're going to be eating popcorn, drinking their soda. They have to take off their mask. So we actually have, and thank God we haven't gotten sick or anything. But we finally had to go. We got too tempted. We got too tempted with Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie that came out, and then of course Clifford, the big red dog. My boys really wanted to see that, so we waited though. So I think that's what we've been doing. We've been trying to wait until we know that there's not going to be, just like normal before pandemic. You would, if you wanted to kind of go when there was not going to be as many people, you just wait about maybe 4 weeks and you're good. So So we waited about 2 weeks for Clifford, and then we waited 2 weeks for Spider-Man. But as you know, Spider-Man's been like #1 at the box office for like already a long time. Like it's broken records here and there. And so when we went, there was still quite a bit of people, but we chose our seats to the very back and to the left, to the left. And I was on the right side, like I was on the very right. And then everybody, there was actually some people, I guess they chose the seats after we chose our seats, that were next to me. But I stayed here, and I had everybody else furthest away from the people. So my wife and my boys were all the way to this side, and we wanted to make sure they were going to be, more protected.
Safe,
But I left my mask on. I actually did not eat popcorn. I didn't even take a sip of soda. Nothing. Yeah. So that's the way we've been doing it. And I want to take my wife to go see Scream.
Oh man, there's a lot of movies I'm missing out on. I'm hoping maybe like a morning viewing.
That's a good idea.
Maybe that would be the best time to do it, because I just can't be around a bunch of people right now.
Yeah, no, and that's good. That's a good thing. I mean, and it's funny you bring up the Germex, because I'm like that too. I'm like, and
mine's not even subtle. It's not even like a travel size. I have this big ass thing sticking out of my pocket, and they're like,
that's me
pulling out this thing.
That's
like,
me. But my back
pocket. I have some? Yeah, sure, man. It's going around in a circle.
Nobody asked me for any, but I have some in my back pocket when I'm at work. But I had somebody, I guess, recognize it, or they saw it, and they asked me, like, do you take hand sanitizer with you all the time? And I was like, well, not always, but right now I have it with me, and I have it with me mainly for if I need it when I know there's a situation where a patient's gonna be like, they're sneezing, they look a little bit more, under the weather.
Yes.
That's where I'll have it with me and I'll use it. And of course, I use it before and after every patient, but
Yes.
of course I'm going to have it with me just because I'm like that. I'm like that too. I'm trying to make sure I don't get sick. I'm trying to keep my family safe. That's like the number one thing in my life right now. And it's always been number one.
Yes.
But man, I have so many more questions, Brittney. So I got to get some other stuff. It's so funny. It's so funny. We have a lot in common. Now, tell us about your Evil by Default podcast.
Yeah, Evil by Default podcast. So me and my buddy Michael, we host that show. And I mean, we just kind of get together. Like sometimes we can't always get together because we have completely different work schedules. So we'll either do it like, online like this, or maybe every once in a while we'll come together. We'll grab some beers. We like to review some beers while we're doing our podcast and stuff. So that's always really fun too. So we'll have like the beer of the day or something. But yeah,
That's
we
cool.
just like to kind of watch some new horror flicks, and we just like to discuss about it, just like the shenanigans about it, or maybe like the theories we have about them. But I mean, it's just, it's just having fun, again, like, pandemic, it was something that we always wanted to do. This was the perfect time to get started on it. It was always a thought in the beginning, but then it was actually became a thing. Like we made it become real. But so yeah, we're just discussing like horror flicks. I've been wanting to do one on the Blair Witch game, which is, I don't know when that's gonna happen, because I know there's a good ending and I cannot get the good ending. I am a bad guy always at the end. So it's one of the based on your choices is the ending you're gonna get. Yeah.
Okay. So this game's already out then.
Yeah, Blair Witch, and it's really, really good.
And is that like more of a on the phone type game, or is it like an actual game for PlayStation or Xbox?
Yes, Xbox and PlayStation.
My brother would know this. I'm sorry, you're talking to the wrong
Yeah.
Almeda right now.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we do. We just kind of like just get together and just, shoot the shits.
Yeah,
But
that's
just talk
cool.
about some
No.
horror flicks, yeah.
I gotta check it out. So how can we find the Evil by Default, podcast? How can we find it?
We're on a Spotify. What was some other one? Spotify, Anchor. We're on one of them's called Google Podcast. But
Cool.
definitely like you can find us on Spotify.
And just type in Evil by Default podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
And you'll find us and you can hear us.
Is there anything on YouTube of this, or just
No, nothing on YouTube.
Okay. No,
I know yeah, I know I mean, that's something that I would like to do. There was and I have some video of it. I don't know if you're aware of the app called Randonautica.
No.
So it's this crazy app that I had heard about. So you download the app and it's gonna generate a random location for you. And you're gonna go to that location and you may or may not experience something paranormal. So they say, right?
Wow.
So one night, me and my friends got together and we drove all the way to Brownsville. We were gonna go and visit a friend.
Wow, that's
before she left.
dedication.
Yes, and that was very dangerous of all places. And I heard that's like the #1 dangerous place here in the RGV. So I don't know what we were thinking, but so at first, we talk about it on the podcast, but so yeah, at first it was like, there's nothing going on, but it gets creepier and creepier. We started finding some things,
Whoa.
we went out, it took us out in the middle of nowhere, and we had saw these obviously they were burning trash back there and stuff. Like this place, like this field was all beat up, but it was so weird that everything was so trash there. I remember the weather that week was really bad too. It kept raining on and off, cold weather, and there was these two perfectly aligned tall shelves, a white pristine condition, and they were facing like the woods. And we're like, man, this is kind of weird. We were kind of actually scared to open them. We kind of didn't want to open them, but finally we got the courage. Let's open them. And we opened them, and each one had 2 different names in them. And I can't remember the names, but it's there in the podcast. But it started leading us back to, I don't know if also you had heard about the conspiracy theories about missing people. And they were kind of basically being auctioned off, disguised as like cabinets, shelves, things like that, and they would have people's names on them. They would go for like $30,000. People are like, this shelf went for $30,000, but the conspiracy theory
I hadn't heard of any of this.
Yeah, so we were tying this together, like, could it be? And we just got the hell out of there. we did another location, and we could not finish the last one. We never got to the location, but it was
Okay.
taking us to an abandoned railroad tracks. And yeah, there we could not finish it. We heard some howling, some growling. We're like,
Wow.
no, we got to get the hell out of here.
That's
But it was
crazy. There's
so,
werewolves.
yes, something was going on, man. And not only that, like we never got to the destination. We just kept walking into pure darkness.
Oh
But I
wow.
remember we all had
That's
this same,
scary.
yeah, we all had the same feeling that it's like we kept going further and further, but we weren't getting any closer to our location. And we kind of felt like we were just in this, like it almost felt like a different dimension. I don't know how to describe it, but it kept getting darker and darker, but we could see each other clearly. I don't know, but we all had the same feeling, and we are like, no,
That
we
is
booked it. We all
crazy.
started hauling ass back to the car. It was hilarious.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you in case people want to like try to check out this app or go on these hunts as well or these adventures, what was the name of that app again?
Randonautica. You could just download the app on your phone and it generates random locations for you.
Are you it kind of reminds me of because there was this guy I knew who would do that Pokemon game, you know, the one on the phone
Oh
where
yeah,
you would have to
Pokemon
go
Go.
to
I played that one.
you
Yeah.
see that? Okay, that's what it kind of reminds me of, just because I didn't know of this other one you just mentioned. Are you still
Yeah.
going on these hunts or adventures?
No, we haven't done one lately, and I've been telling my friends we need to do it. I don't know, maybe we need a proper like camera, because we got some of this footage on an old camera. It's like from the 90s. You know, they say that these older cameras can actually pick up like some type of paranormal or some spirits or something they're sensitive to it. So we're like, well, I
Wow.
have one from the 90s, let's take it. But that's something that we would like to continue to do. If we have the footage, we'll definitely upload it on YouTube.
Wow, wow. Okay, okay. And
Yeah.
okay, oh, that sounds awesome. Wow, great, man. That's really interesting what you just talked about. So okay, we're getting down to the last final questions. Gotta ask you
Okay.
this. This, by the way, I know I didn't mention it, but this is supposed to be season 8 of Talk to Talk. We've done like a lot of seasons, different hosts before, and we've changed hosts from time to time. Of course,
Yeah.
the guests keep changing as well. But
That's freaking awesome.
for season 10, we want to try to have all season 10. It's gonna be 10 episodes, and we want to have guests from one, from season 1 through 9 to try to like
Yes.
basically bring them back for season 10. Well, maybe not too many from 9 because they were just on, they've just beyond, but but like all the other
Yeah.
seasons, just try to get them onto 10, and we'll see how that goes. Just because I want to know what you think about that one. I think you'll like that one a lot. That one's called The Scarecrow Show, and actually was
That sounds
directed
pretty
by.
cool.
We changed the name just for the movie, but it's actually called The Tales of the Scarecrow, and
I like that.
I think Halloween Tales of the Scarecrow, but it was directed by Hugo Rodriguez.
I
Or
follow him on
Rodriguez?
Facebook. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Every time I hear his name, I think of this. Or right?
there you
He's the
go.
real? Yeah, he's
The
all
bear, yeah,
arms.
the bear
Yeah, yeah.
cat, or like just
Yes.
like he looks like a strong, yeah, like he's always with
Yeah.
flexing those big muscles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, with the cap, I think. I think he's always wearing a cap.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so last question, Brittney. Last question. When you think about awesome horror movies, I'm not gonna ask you to give me a list from 1 to 10 or in order, but what comes to mind as your favorite? And I have to stick to horror because that's what I think that's mainly what you're
Right.
about. What horror films pop in your mind when you think about some of the best? I mean, whether it's recommending to people or if someone asks you, like I'm asking, what are the best horror movies or your favorite horror movies of all time?
Ooh, man.
And
So
whatever pops to mind, yeah, or comes to mind.
for sure, the Evil Dead movies. For sure, Night of the Demons. The Thing. The Blob. Let's see. Definitely Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Fright Night, Hell Night is a really good one.
Hell Night. Oh, is Hell Night with Linda Blair?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, dude. I don't really know a lot of people that have seen that film. That is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But yes,
I know my horror. There's some that I've missed, but I tend to know
yes,
my horror.
I think we all have like little holes there.
Exactly.
We
You
haven't
can't
seen
watch them all,
everything.
right? I
Yes.
mean, you'd love to, but you can't watch them all.
Yeah. Definitely. Reanimator.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a real good one.
I watched that one about the time after I saw Evil Dead 1, and I was just like, wow, this is very
Yeah.
like, it just kind of reminded me a little bit about it, and I just loved it, like just how different and funny, you know, it's got that funny and horror like Evil Dead.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
especially part 2, because part 2 goes like really goofy or starts going a little bit more into the comedic side, you know.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask you, since you're bringing up these movies, I gotta ask you this real quick. Have you seen what's the name of that movie? It's kind of like Evil Dead. Oh my goodness, how can I not?
Is it Demon Wind?
Which one?
Demon Wind?
No.
Okay.
No. Oh man, I just love this movie. It has to do with and it's a foreign film actually, but you can listen to it with the audio in English.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can listen to, you know, some people like to watch it, you know, of course, with the audio and, you know, foreign, and then, you know, read the subtitles. But oh my God, what's the name of this movie, dude? I can't. It's really funny because it's this guy who he really likes his girl, and his grandma ends up getting sick, and it's very much like Evil Dead, because she ends up like she's like eating her soup or oatmeal. I don't remember what it is, but like all this stuff, like her flesh is falling into, you know, into the soup or the oatmeal. I think it's oatmeal. And she's just like eating everything. And then like, it's kind of like a virus that kind of gets spread from person to person, but it makes them like zombies somewhat.
Is it Dead Alive?
Or yes, Dead Alive. Or like, I'm trying to remember the exact thing.
It has two names. I think the other one was called Brain Damage, or it has two names, but yeah, Dead Alive.
That's the one,
Alive.
Dead Alive. I could not think of it. Have you seen that?
Yes, we even showed it at Cine El Rey one time.
Oh, that's awesome. That's one I would have shown too.
That one is a really awesome flick. Yes.
And a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's one of the ones that people just don't know about as well. But man, no, I was trying to remember. I feel like an untrue horror fan now, because I couldn't remember everything exactly or the name. But not like, I know there's a funny part, man, where that, is it a monkey or a rat? Where remember they punch like it punches, or it's like in a cage.
Are we talking about, dude? I think it was a giant bunny or rabbit, right?
Right? Something. I
think it was a gigantic fucking rabbit. Yeah, it was like a monster rabbit. I think that's what it was. I remember
like one of them gets real big at the end. Like one of them, there's like a giant possessed. I don't remember if they get possessed or if they get like a virus or they're zombies or something, but zombies, right?
Yeah, I think they're zombies.
I think so. Some type of like, different kind of zombie. But man, it's just funny. It's such a funny movie, but it's also like, it's got some good horror though too. And of course the priest. Yeah. Remember the priest?
Oh my God,
I kick ass for the Lord.
Yes, dude, that's the line. That's gold right there.
That guy, it's hilarious. You see, I remember some things. But that's funny. You've seen that movie. That's awesome. That's cool. No, it just reminded me of those movies when you were mentioning them. But well, Brittney, I know it's been a long, interview. Actually, I'm sorry that I kept you,
No, this was freaking fun. This was worth the wait too. This is awesome.
Hey, same here. I had a great time talking to you. It was wonderful finding out in detail about what you do with your RGV Horror Club and your Evil by Default podcast, which people can check out. And just, I encourage you just to keep doing what you're doing. I'm glad that you're being safe and, for yourself and for your family. And maybe after all this is done, who knows? Like maybe after this pandemic is over, we can, I can go to one of your events. When I have my events, you can come over to one of my events, and we got to meet sometime and, just hang out and, have a good time. Cause like it's awesome. I love what you're doing. Yeah, definitely collab together too. Exactly. Yeah. That would be great. Yeah. Okay. Well, is there any last thing you'd like, any last message you have for anybody who could be watching before we go? Just for everybody to be safe, look out for one another, watch plenty of horror movies, definitely support your local businesses during this time too. Right now, I'm all about always like trying out new restaurants and stuff. If you're going to go out for a burger, go to a mom and pop, just support your local businesses, support your friends' business, whatever they're trying to do right now, always be there for them and support them. And I mean, we're all here for each other, support each other. Awesome message. Awesome
Yeah.
message. That's exactly what I try to do with my Facebook pages. And when we were doing our events, we had
Yeah.
Armando's Pizza, shout out right there, because that's a local business too in Edinburgh. And I think that they need definitely all the support they can get, and as well as other businesses, as you know, like you mentioned. So great message. And Brittney, it was great talking to you.
It was great talking to you too, Joey. It was great to meet you also.
You too, definitely. And you take care, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
For sure. You got it.
All right.